Sawabona, people. What's good with you, man? Man, thank you for tapping in this great new day. And before we even get anywhere, man, I just want to be mindful. Take a deep breath. I know some of y'all might just now what my mother used to say sauntering. I know some of y'all might be sauntering in from a long night last night for some reason. And again, I understand why the indoctrination of societal norms, many of us, including myself, many years ago, you think, oh, you know what, Saturday, I'm gonna just turn it all the way up because you got Sunday to recover. That's the thought process anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's like you start Friday, little bit, just like easing on into the to pool. We ain't just jumping in the deep end. Now some do. The younger you are, the quicker you jump into the deep end on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even Thursday. You know what I'm saying? But at the more mature season you get into the festivities, right? Yeah, you know what? Let me ease on in Friday. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us, you don't put some work in. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't just full cannonball in to the deep end, and then on Saturday night you prime. I got all day to recover. You know what I'm saying? Let me just go ahead and go on in, and then I'll figure out Sunday when I wake up. So if you're just sauntering on in, you grab some whatever my father used to say, bit the dog that bit you. I know some people say snake, whatever. Bit the dog that bit you. So you go ahead, take a shot, whatever it is, get yourself right, get back into the swing of things. And that's the crazy thing. Like when we, listen, I'm not here to to push alcohol abuse on anybody, but it's crazy. You get a little bit of a hangover in you, you know what I'm saying, or a little bit of too much alcohol in you, and you wake up the next day thinking, man, I ain't touching it no more. And the crazy part is, if you drink some more, you feel better. Now, eventually, it's gonna catch up with you. So, understand that. Eventually, you gotta say that enough is enough. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, welcome on another great day to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Smith, the speaker. It's another episode and the final episode, if I'm looking at the calendar correctly, of Free Game Sunday School for the month of January. I do not have a guest today. Today, I wanted to take to make sure that I gave away the game that I told I was going to give away. We had some phenomenal guests. The energy was so real for this month of Free Game Sunday School, just giving away the game. You know what I'm saying? And, trying to help young folks explore and be introduced to different opportunities of ways to play the game. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to my beautiful daughter, and we was talking about how, it's chess, not checkers, like what we trying to do. You know what I'm saying? It's chess, not checkers. We got to be like 3-4 moves ahead of the move we're trying to make. Only a rookie makes checker moves. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. And so I appreciate all the cats that came in and blessed us the last couple of weeks. I got something special for the next month too, February. You know what I'm saying? I got something. So stay tuned for that. Share it with your folks. You know what I'm saying? Hit the subscribe. But as y'all see, I struggle with the English language still to this day, 53 years old. But hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then share it amongst your circles. That's the only way, I can kind of live my journey is, the one thing I had a conversation with a young bro the other day is, I can't do everything. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I do these things is hopefully it sparks the energy of somebody else to do something, to get involved, to participate, to recognize some things. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. Before we get down, this is always, this is brought to you by the nonprofit BRUH, Brothers Raising Up His. You know what I'm saying? Where the kids or the cause, go over there and check them out, doing phenomenal work. If you don't know, bruh has done since 2020 is offered free math tutoring for students here in Solano County of California, down to Houston, Texas, and out to Florida. I do not know the exact county in Florida. Uh, and I don't want to say the wrong, but I think it's close to Orlando. Kissimmee, something like that. Check me if I'm wrong. But it's out that way. And then we also helped a young bruh out in the Washington D.C. area with some things. So yeah, go check out bruh, man. Like, and if you want to donate, tap in. There's a way to throw some funds that way. Tax write off for you, because I know a lot of people that consume this. We trying to make sure our twos and fews are accounted for. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't come as easy as most believe they do. So with all of that said, thank you for joining me. Give me about 35-45 minutes of your time. Oh, with that being said, I didn't get jammed up, but someone tapped in like, Schmidt, why is it Sunday school? You know what I'm saying? Like, you all against church, and I am, you know what I'm saying? And I am. And but I understand, like, sometimes you got to go get fed some ways. So that's what this is. And then they was like, well, how you calling it Sunday school? And you drinking alcohol. And then my response to that is simply, everybody in the congregation is drinking wine either during the speech, or whatever it is that they get them riled up with, and then soon as they leave the church, some do it in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? They crack that bottle open or whatever it is that they do. You know what I'm saying? That they don't want other people think they know, but we already know. So anyway, that's why I do that. Let's get on to the topic du jour. Du jour. Don't know what that means, but it sounds good. All right. So when we talk about free game, again, a lot of the organic things of why I do this is because I understand, well, it came to my attention probably in about 2020 of how some of the great programs, resources, whatever the case may be, is available to certain people and demographics, but it doesn't make it to them, whether it's at the city level, whether it's at the county level, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the federal level. Like, there's all these great things going into trying to support specific groups, right? But for whatever reason, it doesn't trickle all the way down to them. And so I started this. I did the nonprofit. I did the podcast. Just trying to do all these other things to make sure that there's a funnel, a free flowing funnel of information to get to the people it needs to go to, because I heard people that was community stakeholders who didn't even know about specific programs or funds available to help the people that attend their congregation or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did all of this. And now this free game has got me to the point where I could say I have enough lived experience that I have confidence in myself that I could share some things that I think benefit young people, because, let's just be honest. There's some things that help young people. I'm not going to slap people in the face and brush over it like they don't. Some of it isn't specifically designed for people or young men that look like me, or young girls, you know what I'm saying, that look like my most beautiful, you know what I'm saying? And then some of that, there's a ties to, and you got to be a part of this and a part of that to get this. I'm not with all of that. I try to do things differently. Like, the last couple of years, I've given away $500, $600, $700 in scholarships to young black men who graduated high school with, whatever, because for whatever reason, we only want to give scholarships, financial scholarships, to people who exceed far and above. What about, and that goes to the grading thing. And I don't want to get off track here, but like, grades just look at the final summative, the everything, and then you get graded on that, but you don't get graded on the work, like the time it took you, the stress it put you under. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think scholarships go wrong. Scholarships just look at your final. They don't look at the work it took you to get up every day. Did you have to take 2 different buses to get to school? You know what I'm saying? Like, just getting there. So that's why I do that, doing things differently. So with all of that said, today, because of what the folks that were on for this month giving away free game, I wanted to just dig in a little deep, and kind of give my spill, if you will, on some of this. And so I want to just talk about the game of life, because that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing. Like me and my daughter talked about, we're playing chess, and the object in chess is to be thoughtful so you can collect as much power through energy as possible to then isolate the goal, right? There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert chess player, because I'm not, but I understand the purpose of the game. And so with all of that said, when we talk about life, when I talk to young people, we talk about being successful and what success looks like. And if you only been introduced to a certain something, then that almost becomes, how you base success on, right? So I broke it down. I put some thought into this. I don't just come on here and blah, 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 because that was one of my problems with my podcast, was like I would go weeks, months without, contributing some content, because I don't feel like I just need to come on here and talk. Anybody can do that. I know a lot of people that do that. Well, I shouldn't say I know a lot. I see a lot of podcasts that people just talk, just whatever, I want to make sure that I'm providing something. So I broke this down, and to me, the game of life is 3 parts. Now I'm gonna be looking, because I write notes and I don't remember it all, but in the 3 parts, and this is just mine. Somebody else may have a totally different definition or diagnostic how this game of life is played. So I think it's purpose, evolution, and action. Okay, purpose, evolution, and action. Again, just the way I see it. I started with evolution. It's so much to unpack about evolution. We're not talking about the entire civilization of mankind. We're talking about the human being. I know I have been in evolution, and I had to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing about evolution. For the most part that I can say, it is science-based. And what I mean science-based, I'm not sitting here talking about, the periodic table. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about just humans. What's crazy is, what was it, last year, the year before, in the NFL, when was the boy Hamlin got hit in the chest, and he went to cardiac arrest. That was science. Like doctors, scientists, people who study the heart and how it works, understood and identify, like, look, bro got hit at like the specifically insane right time, to where the heart was in the middle of beating, and then that basically stopped his heart from beating. And I heard stories again, but I hear stories where, sometimes back in the day when they sent you to the execution chair, that it didn't go through the first time because our body is made up of electricity, right? That when that shock went through, the initial shock, it skipped the heartbeat, or it skipped the electrical beat. So boom, it just went right through the person. They still living. So understand, the body is a work of science. You know what I'm saying? We are, I don't know. I don't know if this is the right word, but we are inertia. Like, we're constantly like moving. You know what I'm saying? And so the science behind it is this, we're organisms. And again, I'm not trying to turn this into a science project, but organisms, like, we grow, you know what I'm saying? And then what happens in that is there's just certain processes to my English majors. But one of them is just the natural selection. So evolution, here we are, we grow as humans, we grow, right? And then the natural selection process is, and I wrote this down because I want to make sure that I'm correct. In the natural selection process, organisms that are better adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. I'm going to say that again because I think it's important. Natural selection, that's who we are, right? Come together, our organisms form this body that we are. And those organisms that are better adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say you become a product of your environment. I did not say that. Are we products of our environment? Sure we are. Everybody is. We are. But when we're talking about surviving and evolving, the more we are better adapted to the environment, and not the immediate environment, but the collective environment, the macro environment. So yes, I am a product of my street that I grew up on. I am. I'm also a product of that neighborhood. I'm also a product of that city. Then I become a product of the county, a product of the state, a product of this country. And I hate to say that word, but that's what it is, right? But again, it doesn't define me, right? I'm adapting. I see what's going on my street. I'm not afraid to say this. On my block, I grew up on Hunter Avenue, shout out East Oakland. You know, it was a dope house 2 houses down. It was users both sides of my house. It was prostitute on this right next to me. It was a whole house, couple on the corner down. I had to pass every single day. Crazy part about my block, we had Nazis on the opposite side of my street, about 3 or 4 horses down. Nobody messed with them. Everybody knew they was Nazis. Leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? They only was on the block. It's crazy, right? But it was never a problem. So I became adapt, and I seen that, right? Now, when I leave my street and I get into the neighborhood, now this block ain't the same as the other block. Now I got to adapt to that and figure that out. You know what I'm saying? I got to take in some of this knowledge and let it form me. You know what I'm saying? Then when I leave my neighborhood, I go into the city. You understand? You can't go. I couldn't go to West Oakland, Acorn Village. Shout out Acorn. You know what I'm saying? There was places you just couldn't do. Like even within the city, like if 85th, you couldn't go over, you know, to 73rd and 69 and all of these different places. So understand, you adapt, you understand, you start to learn, you get experience, right? So now you're not a product, you're adapting. You're seeing, you're surviving, because that adaptation was like, oh, don't go to, you can't go to 6-9. Adapting, you feel me? So that's that process of the natural selection. We as organisms, we adapt. All right, we adapt, and then we move on. And again, I don't want to make this science, but this gene mutation, like in us, right? You got the DNA or the genes, if you will, from your mom and dad. You see, the crazy part about that, what we don't, and this is a very serious part of life when we're talking about the younger person of me or us, is that we have genes from both our parents that are coming together, and they're trying to figure out who's doing what, how we doing this, what that DNA was, where it came from. And, you know, I say this jokingly to a lot of people in conversations, is that when we first that connection with someone you're attracted to, it's visual, right? And then it's like, oh, I want to get with them, right? And then the first questions is like, hey, what's up? You with it? Whatever, say, you know, Netflix and chill. Can we go on a date? Whatever, right? Seldom, and I may be wrong, but I think seldom is the questions like, hey, what's your background look like? You know what I'm saying? Who's in your family? They pedophiles, they rapists, they murderers, is there syphilis? Is there, you know, history of bipolar? Is there history of diabetes? Is there history of cancer? Is there history of whatever? We don't talk about that. We don't ask those questions. And so now when we come together with this person and we create the next human being, we're bringing all of that into that, and these genes, these DNA eggs, if you want, they're trying to figure it out. So we're growing, we're evolving, right? And that's just the paternal genes coming together, evolving as we evolve. So it's a process, is what I'm trying to say. All right. And then as we continue on the evolution process, the cycle, if you will, doesn't end with adaptation. Like, okay, I understand I can't go over to this particular part of town. That doesn't end who we are. You know what I'm saying? It's continual, because the more better we're adapted, the better chances we have to survive. So now, once I understand, oh, okay, this is what I can't do in this particular neighborhood or in this street, in this city. Now what's going on in another street, in another neighborhood, in another city. So it's a continual process, right? I had talked about this before, and it's infiltrating. And when we was talking about infiltrating before, we was talking about the political arena. Now we have genes and DNA infiltrating us, our body growing, trying to figure things out. And then us in turn, while that's happening internally, externally, we're infiltrating other areas, environments, if you will, to adapt, right? To gain some experience. So that whole evolution process is a continuing ball of energy, if you will. And when I talk about adaptation and infiltration, I'm not talking about conforming. Conforming does not allow you to grow. Conforming just means you become part of that, and you're not. That'd have been just like conforming would have been me staying on my street, not doing anything else, or staying in my house. You know what I'm saying? And that's what society in whole is, and puts the pressure on you to conform to whatever they think is right for you based on their traditional biases. You know what I'm saying? So I will never say conform, but we have to adapt to be in a better position to survive. Okay. I can say that. I can say what I'm about to say because it's my show and I'll do what I want and say what I want. Adapting to survival through evolution meant this for me. And when I was coming up, I started to hear when I was about 12 years old that I was going to be killed by another black man before I was 21. We're dealing with, crack epidemic, AIDS epidemic, gang violence was all the time, murder. Oakland at that time was the murder capital of the world. You know what I'm saying? So that was my predisposition imposed on me by somebody else. I could have conformed and just stayed in that and been like, this is what they telling me, then I got to accept it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of brothers did, and I'm not knocking them at all. Me, I'm like, nah, bro, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna get up out of here before somebody murks me by 21. You know what I'm saying? So I had to adapt. I had to figure out my surroundings. I had to be fluid. I had to not how to get through these parts of towns without getting caught up and ran through and all of this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't conform, you know what I'm saying? But I did adapt. That was my way to be better positioned to survive. All right. And again, I am not saying if you did that you weren't right. That's what you accepted. And we'll get to that part shortly here. The evolution process. For the past, 5 years or so, I've been on this different journey trying to understand myself, gain some clarity, find where my balance is, control some of my anxieties, identify them, see where some of these demons are, see where some of these internal challenges come from. How do I get there? So I chose a particular path because I liked the energy. I liked that it wasn't about being locked into a certain thought process. It was more open and identify who you are and then grow internally, right? So through Greek, all of that good stuff, and I'm not going to get into that, but one of the sayings was from this cat, Heraclitus, and if I'm saying his name wrong, it is what it is. I don't claim to be a scholar on all of these things, but what I like about it is he said, no man ever steps in the same river twice. I know there's some African proverbs out there that say the same thing, different words. There's what it could be proverbs from anywhere, from any culture, who kind of say the same thing, the interpretation, right? But what you're getting out of that is the water's constantly moving. So even if you are the same man, you're not stepping in the same water twice. You know what I'm saying? But we're not, because every second we grow. Every second we change, we evolve. And I mean that in the physical sense, the literal sense, the spiritual sense, the emotional sense. We are not who we was. You know what I'm saying? And you can be so intricate and detailed to be say, I wasn't who I was yesterday, which I wasn't. I'm a day older now. You know what I'm saying? But in the grand scheme of things, that's why they have that question. Hey, what would you tell your 16-year-old self? What would you tell your 12-year-old self? Because I'm not that person no more. And the 12-year-old that is listening to this right now, you're not going to be that 12-year-old 10 years from now. You may look the same. You will grow a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying physically, you may look the same, but hopefully emotionally, mentally, you'll change a little bit. Now, and again, with that, evolution is individual. You know what I'm saying? It's individual. So and I know there's that whole thing about, women tend to mature sooner than males, which is totally possible. I'm not a scientist. I don't know that to be sure. I've seen some experience that will suggest that, you know what I'm saying? I know my behavior would suggest that. So that's the evolution process. And I said evolution first because I think and I believe that to get to the next one, right, the purpose part, you have to evolve first so you can find out what the purpose is, your purpose. You know what I'm saying? The evolution, how do we get to the purpose? For me, and I wrote this down because I think that when I talked about earlier that the individual grows, that we evolve at our own time and space, you know what I'm saying? And the energy we decide to put into that evolution, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with it. We're entitled to be unique in our evolution. And it may take people longer to like broccoli. It may take people longer to like the feel of cotton on their skin compared to leather. It may take you longer to understand the finer intricacies of caviar, which I can't stand. But again, the journey is yours to travel, and yours alone at your own time. Some run, some walk, some skip, some jog, some try. I don't know it, but it is yours. And that's totally cool. But through all of that, to get to the purpose, and this is key to me, is the introduction. When we talk about adaptation and we talk about surviving through adaptation, if the adaptation process is confined to minimal exposure, then that constricts the purpose. I think the opportunity to find purpose. You know what I'm saying? Again, on my block, there wasn't a city manager that lived on my block. There wasn't an arborist who lived on my block. There wasn't an astronaut who lived on my block. But as I move out off my block and into the city, I seen other people doing different things. I've seen business owners. You know what I'm saying? I see this and I see that, but then that's still limited, because as you evolve as a youngster, your social network is almost limited to the people your age, unless you have folks who are pouring into you that are older, who take their social network and introduce it to you. That's the key. That's the key, because now you're instead of it just being my block, my neighborhood, my city, and other close proximity cities, now it's a person who's older than me, who has a social network, good or bad, that still it's the social network that they're introducing to you. Now different things become visible to you to adapt, to see, to survive, whatever it may look like. Now we start to enter into the purpose, right? Again, good or bad. Your network grows, hopefully. Your social network grows, hopefully. And then your purpose of why do I exist? Now, let me be clear on this. If you're a teenager, a young adult, or whatever the case is, I know I didn't ask myself, why do I exist, when I was 12, 22, probably even 32. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody who has asked that question to themselves brought that question from their social, including their social network, to you, now at least you're introduced to it. Why do I exist? Even at 12, even at 15, even at 25. Maybe you don't ponder it, but you've heard it. Why do you exist? Why do I exist? Now, that's a whole different question, but once you start to open up your social network and you continue to adapt, to survive, the purpose and the why start to present itself probably in ways you've never even thought of because we don't think that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is organic. There's lots of stories of people who've done things and they'll say, hey, it was this one cat who tapped into me and bam, you know what I'm saying? The epiphany was there and I knew what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Some people like myself, I didn't understand my purpose probably until about 5 years ago. Now, let me say this. I've always had the spirit in me to do it, the energy, you know what I'm saying? The inherent ball of fire to do what I'm doing right now has always been there. I just didn't know what to use that fire for. I was using it in other places. You know what I'm saying? So understand that, and you're not right, you're not wrong. It is just like I said, it's all individual. When you realize the purpose, because I can tell you, I thought coming up, my purpose was to play basketball. I was going to be in the NBA, make millions of dollars, retire my mom, you know what I'm saying? Buy my dad a truck so he could do his own business in a brand new truck in a Peterbilt. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was my purpose for the longest time. And then as I grew older, I'm like, yeah, man, that's 6'1", 150, probably ain't gonna get me to the NBA, even though I could ball. Let's not get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? And then life happened, right? Life happened. And the purpose was focused on my family and not me per se. You know what I'm saying? So when we start talking about the purpose, you don't know how to ask that question if you're young. So this is where I put the responsibility and accountability on folks like myself, older people, because we go back to the Maasai warriors of Africa. And when they greet each other, it's not about the individual. It's about the community, specifically the youth in the community. And that greeting is Kaserian and Genera. And I hope I'm saying that right. I've said it before. And I'm still working on the pronunciation. And I'm mad at myself. I'm frustrated at myself. And I'm frustrated at America for not teaching me this part of my history that I need to know and I should have known. But again, that greeting is specifically designed to say, how are the children? How are the children in the community? Because they understood the purpose if they wanted to survive and continue this adaptation process through evolution, that the children had to be okay. Not the warriors, not the moms, not the grannies. We understand they've been through that. How are the children? How are the children? That's our purpose. And I think we've gotten away from that as a society here right now. You know what I'm saying? You just look around, and I don't want to get into the political stance on that, but just look around and see where the energy is. That's why the things I do, I'm always asking for young people's influence. I don't hang out at the mall. I don't hang out at the skating ring. I don't hang out at the skate park. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on TikTok trying to see who's doing what. But if I have young people around me, I can better serve them when they tell me, oh, this is a challenge we see. This is a challenge we have. This is what we need to move forward or to progress. And how do we change this? And when I talk to young people, man, their energy, their thoughts are so phenomenal because they don't subscribe to the inside the box thinking. It's always, how come we don't do it this way? And I love that because I've been asking myself that, how come we don't do it? And you know what you get from society? Oh, we've been doing it like this forever. It don't work. You know what I'm saying? So Kaserian and Genera, how are the children? That's the purpose. How are the youth in our community? Because they are the purpose. And so if that's the focus, and you are OG, and when you enter into the neighborhood or wherever, surrounding cities or wherever you may be moving about, adapting and evolving, you come on to a brother that's local and be like, bruh, how's the kids? That's the purpose. Now, when you run into young bruh, young sister girl, your purpose is to ask them now what's their purpose, because I've already talked to the community leaders. Are they good? Okay, that's the purpose. Now, let me go talk to the individuals. Anybody talk to you about a purpose? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I just talked to the G's about, right? What's your purpose? Oh, I don't know. I ain't never thought. Okay, well, here, let's chop it up. Free game. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to ask you, well, what's a purpose? Do you have a purpose? You know what I'm saying? And these are the conversations that got to take place if we want our young people to evolve. to play this game of life. You know what I'm saying? The purpose part, right? And through this introduction of purpose, I can only speak for myself, and I hope it's true for other folks, is you gain the knowledge. You learn to reconcile what that purpose is now, and we can identify it, which leads us into the third part, is the action. You know what I'm saying? We're evolving. We found our purpose. Here comes the work. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is where I hold myself accountable. Because I think I've said this before. I'm about to cause. This is why I do this. You know what I'm saying? Let me do this real quick. This plug. Pacifico, man, I've been rocking with y'all since I started this show. If y'all know anybody from Pacifico, let them sponsor me. We can get this worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Pacifico, shout out. The action part, I'm about the cause, and I'm not about the money. Now, don't get me wrong. I need money. Got to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But if I'm in this to get rich, I'm not living my purpose. You know what I'm saying? I haven't evolved, you know, because I don't want to sound stupid or naive. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, you know what I'm saying, including your boy. But I understand maybe that's not in my, and that's cool, because I'm still going to survive. I'm still going to rock. I'm still do what I got to do somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily need to be a millionaire to be hella cool and get the word out. You know what I'm saying? So the action part. That's what I try to do. That's what I try to put the work in on the action part. It's easy for me to come on here, pop open my blah, 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 blah. Then what's the work? You know what I'm saying? I'm proud to say that any young person I've ever come across, I would hope to say I've enhanced their life somehow. Not just with my presence, but with the energy that I bring them, and hopefully with some words of encouragement and some influence to help them grow and find their purpose. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the young people I've come across, it ain't never even been about money. Like, they ain't never come to me like, Coach, you know, Smith, Mr. Russell, Big Smith, what they ain't, can I get? They don't do that. It's like, man, just feed me some game. It's like, shit, bro. That's say less. You know what I'm saying? And we do it wherever. Where if it's in the park, if it's in the car, if it's hanging, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the cool part about the action. You ain't got to be in a specific spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I play on the words of free game Sunday school. Everybody thinks Sunday school like you got to be in somewhere, a specific location to get the word, to get the game. Man, look what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And not only do I do it here, I do it wherever I can. If I catch a young cat somewhere, bro, how you feeling today? Simple as that. If he don't want to talk, I let him be. I ain't pressing him. You know what I'm saying? But if he gives me some vibe, like, talk to me, G. Say less. How much time you got? You know what I'm saying? The action part is hard, you know, especially in the world we live in now. Look, I didn't even write no notes down for the action part because I know it's difficult. You know, part of the evolution process and adapting is doing things that go against traditional norms in our society. Evolution is a motherfucker. I can say that, it's my show. Evolution is a motherfucker, because sometimes you got to be hella uncomfortable to do some shit. You know, the thing right now is like, oh yeah, make people comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable with yourself first and do things like, you know, me and bro was talking about last week. Shout out, Reek. You know, you might have to accept some things from your own community, your own family. You might have to catch shade, darts, whatever, from your own folks to go against the grain, to do something to find your purpose. That's the action part. Some of us ain't wired for that. Some of us ain't found our purpose through that. Cause see, you know, I got this from Herm Edwards. Shout out Herm if you listening, man. If y'all know Herm, you know, the NFL coach, man, tell him come on my show. You know, I love Herm. Herm keep it 1,000. But anyway, I heard it from Herm, and he was just talking about like how young folks come and want to play athletics and D1 or college or whatever. And he hit him with, well, are you interested or are you committed? It's two different things. You know, and when we talk about this work, when we talk about being a mentor, when we talk about supplying free game in Sunday school or just wherever, is you interested or you committed? I know a lot of people that are interested. But then what happens when a young brother gets locked up? Then what? Are you still interested? What happens when sister girl, you know, has an unexpected pregnancy? Are you still interested? You know what I'm saying? What happens when they get expelled from school? You still interested? You know what I'm saying? What happens when they call you in the middle of the night, needing a place to stay, and you ain't got no room in your house? Are you interested? You know what I'm saying? When they say, hey, G, bro, you got $5? Are you interested? You want to pick up the phone? You know what I'm saying? Are you interested or are you committed to our young people surviving and thriving in this game of life? You know what I'm saying? And then when you show that you're committed to it, they're gonna be committed. They're gonna be more committed to listening to you. And then when you got their attention and they start to listen, now you open them up to finding their purpose, not what your purpose is for them. I tell young folks that all the time, man. Your purpose may not be what your mom and dad sent you to, what they got set up for you. It may not be college. It may not be the military. It may not be a missionary. You know what I'm saying? That's individual. But they might need somebody that lights that fire in them so they can find their purpose and become a teacher, a low-paying teacher. That's a whole different story. But again, it's not about the money. They might want to become an educator. Hell, they might want to become a law enforcement officer to do something different, to go against that action of the preconceived notion that was put on officers. They might want to change that. They might want to become a judge because they seen what happened to their family and how they was misrepresented in jurisprudence. It's a lot of things that they might want to be, but they don't know if we don't talk to them, if we ain't committed to the action, if we ain't committed to going out to the park, talking to them, if we ain't committed to going to juvenile hall, talk to them, if we ain't committed to going to first grade and talk to them. And I said first grade because I already know what second grade brings. And if you ain't reading competently by fourth grade, you already know what that brings. That's real spill. You know what I'm saying? If y'all follow me and follow what I've been doing, you understand the connection between math and reading. And if you don't know how to read, it's difficult to do math. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get to the word problems and they start changing the symbols to words, it's a problem. You know, when we start talking about context and syntax and putting these things together and understanding what comes first and subjugated verbs. It's a game. It's a game of life. But that's our responsibility. And I take it personally. You know what I'm saying? That's why I do this. Back to the original. You know what I'm saying? The action part. The action part. We have a lot of people right now in places in educational environment and institutions that are there for a paycheck. They don't want to do the extra work. They don't think they have to. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to give that student the extra time. They say they do, but then when that student goes there, oh no, I ain't got time today. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let me say this. Even if they do go the extra mile, say I offer these tutoring hours or I offer office time or whatever the case is, how comfortable and welcome does that student feel to go do that? That's the key right there. Because I've heard it too many times from young people. I don't feel welcome, Mr. Russell. I don't feel welcome. This is coming from fifth graders. Fifth graders and sixth graders saying they don't feel welcome. So to hell with your tutoring hours. Make them feel welcome. Let's try that. Let's try that. To hell with your tutoring hours. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you, when you get the kids in school, say, you know what? To hell with reading right now or whatever. Sit down, man. How y'all feeling today? Individually, go around 35 kids. I know that's 30. I know. I got 35 kids on my football team. I know. 8-year-olds, matter of fact. Talk to them individually. Hey, if you watching and you a parent of any one of the kids I've ever coached, if I'm lying, put me on blast. But I go to each and every kid. What's up, man? How you feeling today? I don't do it out loud. I get up right up on them. Shake their hand. Ask any parent if I'm lying. I'm going up to them. Bro, how you feeling today? We good? You know what I'm saying? Some it might take a little longer. Some we got our own little special handshake. Some is a vibe. Some I can feel it in their eyes. I can feel it in their energy. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I do to every single little kid on my football team. I'll go 8 years old, my 10-year-old squad, 12-year-olds, they know. They know how I rock. What's up with you, man? How you feeling today? How you feeling today? You know what I'm saying? To hell with practice. Let's chop it up today. To hell with practice. Let's chop it up today. Well, I might take an L because we ain't prepared, but it is what it is. Because right now it ain't about that. It's about you. We can't keep thinking our kids are going to succeed in the game of life, evolve, find their purpose if they don't feel welcome in a place where they got to go to feel welcome. If they want to open up their mind and be educated, let that sink in. I know I said it fast, but if you just listen, you'll listen. You feel me? It's the action part. Are you interested? Are you committed to the action of our young people being well, thriving, and evolving and adapting in a way that's successful for survival for them as an individual? Let that one sink in. You want a fifth grader to adapt and survive? Sometimes it ain't about him reading Macbeth. You feel me? Just saying. Just saying. Sometimes it ain't even about that. Introducing to something else that might take his mind off of what he has to go back to once he gets out of your classroom. And I'm going to end it with this because this is serious to me when we talk about action. I know we have, white savior syndrome, and I'm not knocking anybody, my white folks out there who love me, who I rock with. Y'all folks with me, y'all know that. But I'm just saying this in general. White savior syndrome. And when you tell me that your class is about unity and diversity and it's welcoming just because you wrote a thesis on ethnic studies, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you. That's just like me having a classroom and I say, you know what? I did a historical thesis on Europeans. So my room is going to reflect that. I'm going to have all these pictures of these white folks up there. That's going to make you feel at home. That's going to make you feel welcome. But I'm up here acting like I do, talking like I talk. I ain't never been. How am I going? Just because I wrote a thesis don't make me white. Don't make me a white property owning white male. You know what I'm saying? Understand that. I know you may have a good heart. You have good intentions. But just because you wrote a thesis on something don't make you lived in those shoes. I mean, you ain't had the lived experience. Yeah, you might have a big heart. Yeah, you may have compassion. Yeah, you may have empathy. But you got to go a lot further than that. Sorry. You got to go a lot further than that. You know what I'm saying? And if you are outstanding, thank you. You are outstanding. Thank you. That's the action part, folks. I know that part. I'll tell you that's why I didn't write down no notes because I already knew I was just gonna go off on one. That's today's show. That's free game. That's free game. I want my young folks to be introduced to so many different things of what we can be. January 25th, 1980, they launched the Black Entertainment Television. It doesn't seem big now. You know what I'm saying? But as a young man, for me, everybody watched BET. Like, what, bro? There's some black folks on, man. Like, they ain't shucking and jiving. You know what I'm saying? You got some music on look like us. They doing these other things. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Soul Beat. You know what I'm saying? If you're from the town, you already know about Soul Beat and what Chuck Johnson did. You know what I'm saying? You got to represent, man. We have to see it. Chuck Johnson, man, you have to see this dude on with the mic. Think, oh, I could talk on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Don Cornelius, what up? Shout out. Y'all don't understand. Don was in the game. Like, he was a factor. You know what I'm saying? But we had to see it. We had to see it, man. Bruce Wayne, what is Wayne Brady? Nothing without Don. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking Wayne. I'm not knocking Wayne at all. Wayne got built. But I'm saying without Don, man, we ain't got a lot of cats, out there doing this thing on the mic and spitting it out to you. You know what I'm saying? Roland Martin. Roland. Come on the show, dog. You know what I'm saying? Free game. Free game. Young folks, if you don't know, there's a lot of opportunities out there. Go to the local library, do the Google search on your phone, because I know you all got one. Opportunities are internships. There's a lot of opportunities out there just to do some stuff. If you need any help, man, tap in with your boy. Mail for bruh at Gmail. Mail for bruh, like you send mail, MAIL, the number 4, BRUH at Gmail. Send me an email, man. Let me know if y'all need some assistance. I got you. It's nothing. You feel me? All right. Go out, enjoy the rest of y'all day. Be mindful, man. Be mindful. Let me say this in closing, only because this is where my heart is right now. Young bros. If you out and about today and you with your girl, hold her hand, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I was stupid. I didn't know. Hey, hold your girl's hand, bro. Hold her hand. It goes along. It's so simple. It's so small, so mundane, so corny, but it go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Hold your girl's hand. It's powerful. It's so powerful in its gentleness. And I know I'm getting out, but it's so powerful in its gentleness, man. Like, once you understand, like when you grab her hand and see the word I just used, grab. When you take her hand, that's the strength, that's the power of your black hand caressing, holding, and protecting her delicate black hand. That's for real. Like, for real. You know what I'm saying? You with your girl today, man. Hold her hand. It speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna shut up. Young bros, you got a girl. Old bros, you got a girl. She ain't your girl if you ain't met her father. If her father's alive and you ain't met her father, it ain't your girl. Now, I know there's some other layers to that. I understand that. But if he's alive and there's a relationship there, if you ain't met him and shook his hand, she's not your girl. Just saying. So understand that part. It's part of the game. It's part of the game of life. Understand that you have the evolution process, the purpose, and the action. Take that with you for this week. Be powerful, people. Be productive. You know what I'm saying? Be specific. Be intentional. Be purposeful. Be proud. You know what I'm saying? Tapping with your boy. And as I get up out of here, like I always do, beautiful black people, have a conversation with someone that doesn't look like you. And if you shut up and listen, you just might learn something. Beautiful black people, I love you. Till next time.